we're speaking about the laws of loans. So the Gemara says that if you don't stipulate how long the loan is for, you assume it's for 30 days. If nobody says how long it is, most loans is assumed to be 30 days unless you make a different timeline. And it will be asur to ask for the money before the deadline. So if he didn't say a date, the guy says, hey, can I borrow from you $100? Don't expect it earlier than 30 days. If you did not say a day, a month is the usual amount of time you give a person to pay back. Now, very related to the laws of loans is the laws of ribit, not charging interest. It is forbidden from the Torah to charge interest to another Jew. Jews are expected and obligated to give to each other free loans, no strings attached, never to look at, oh, maybe you have to make money on my money. No, you have to give a chesed to another Jew. You're allowed to rent your house. You're allowed to rent your car. In the Torah, you're not allowed to rent your money to another Jew. There's no such thing as renting your money. Oh, but my money is sitting doing nothing and you get to use it. Yes, Jews are obligated to do chesed with one another, and you cannot go and do ribit on top. Now, ribit, interest, does not just mean charging a rate of money per month that you're holding on to it. Even if you do other things. Let's say you gave me a loan, and now I feel indebted to you. So I want to go in the shul on Shabbat and buy you an aliyah. And say, oh, this guy, he's a great guy. He gave me a loan. I want to, make him happy and give him a gift. It's asur. If the reason you're doing it is because of the loan, it's ribit, it's interest. It doesn't have to be that I'm giving him money. Any favor or anything I go out of my way to do because of the loan is now considered ribit. It's also considered interest. So you see, the Torah does not want Jews to do things because they're going to get something out of it. You have to learn to do a mitzvah because it's a mitzvah. That's it. Even the person shouldn't say, oh, what's in it for me? When you do interest, you start giving loans only because what's in it for me. And the Torah does not want that. The Gemara says that a person who does a loan with interest inside, the borrower gets a sin, the lender gets a sin, the guarantor gets a sin, the witnesses who attest to the loan gets a sin, the lawyers who write up the contract, they get a sin. Everybody involved is going to get in trouble, Chaz v'shalom, with the Torah. The person has to be very careful not to play with games with this, even though it's very enticing and it's a very easy way to make money. The person has to stay far away from these things. A lot of times what comes up with loans and interest as well is the person wants to buy a house, let's say. And the person has to be careful to verify that loans like this don't involve ribit. How could it be involved ribit? Say I want to buy a house, but my credit is not so good, or my income tax is not good enough, so I need some help. So what do? I get somebody to co-sign for me. I get my father, or I get my uncle, or I get my friend, and he's a Jew. So now the bank is charging what? Interest on top of the principal. And who's going to be signed along with this? Is another Jew. Comes out that the Jew is going to pay the bank, but I have to pay back the Jew, right? If I default and he pays, I'm going to have to pay him. Such a setup involves interest between two Jews, which is also problematic. So therefore, a person has to be careful that you can do sometimes interest without even realizing. So a person has to pay attention, and sometimes we'll have to do heter iska. Heter iska, maybe we'll speak tomorrow and a different day explaining what it is. But a person has to be careful that you can't just come help me, sign for me. And you have to make sure that halachically it's not considered interest to Jews. The Moshe Feinstein said an interesting way to be able to avoid this issue. He says you have to make payments, rent to buy, which means half the payment will be rental towards the other Jew, and half the payment will be towards the principal. In this way, since part of it is rental, part of it is principal, you're not paying for the interest. You're covering the interest by saying I'm renting it every single day. So therefore, the more you live there, the more you buy off slowly. But you have to do some sort of different sort of setup in order to avoid interest. Otherwise, it could be easily interest. There's a story of Kiva Eger, alav shalom, where there's people came to him and he said, so and so passed away in the community, and he was a very, very wealthy man. So they said to him, the Chevra Kadisha is giving us a big problem. He says, what happened? Chevra Kadisha wants $1 million for his plot. So he said, speak to this Chevra Kadisha. What kind of Chevra Kadisha is the kids of the millionaire saying? Charging $1 million for a plot? What, are they crazy? So Rakiv Eger comes and he calls them and he says, why are you guys doing this? Chevra Kadisha, what's wrong with you? He said, listen, Rabbi, this guy, you know what this guy was? This guy was the biggest crook, the biggest shark. He gave everybody loans, but everything on interest. No, he didn't give anybody free loans. He charged everybody interest. He said, oh yeah? Okay, good. So he goes and he tells the inheritors, he says, yes, you have to pay $1 million for the plot. He says, Rabbi, what is this? What are you talking about? He says, listen, in the Torah it says that we're all going to get up at Tehiyat HaMetim. We're going to wake up in the days when it's going to be Mashiach, it's going to be the resurrection of the dead. So everybody, their plot is a rental. We're there temporary. This guy, he charges interest. He doesn't get up at Tehiyat HaMetim. The Torah says the person who charges interest doesn't get up in the resurrection of the dead. For him, it's not a rental, the plot. For him, it's forever. So, of course, it makes sense. He should pay more than everybody else. Baruch Naolam.